If you have ever tried to become a new person on Monday and burned out by Friday, you're not alone. Routines should not feel as a punishment. So in today's video, I will share how I approach the habit building with compassion and curiosity. Hi, I'm Tamara, certified master health coach, personal trainer, and fitness nutritionist. And I help busy people to ramp up their wellness game so their bodies and minds are up to speed with their dreams, goals, and ambitions so they can do more and leave more. So now let's get into this habit building business. ABC stands for anger, behavior, and celebration. Three core elements of every habit introduced by B.J. Fogg, professor in Stanford University, author of Tiny Habits book, and founder of Behavior Design Lab. I will walk you through it in a minute, but first, let's define a habit. A Merriam-Webster dictionary defines habit as an acquired mode of behavior that has become nearly or completely involuntary. I like this one because it emphasizes several key aspects of any habit. First, it is a behavior, meaning it involves something you do, an action that responds to stimulation. It is acquired, meaning that we were not born with it, but rather trained ourselves into it by doing it many times. It's nearly or completely involuntary, meaning that our brain spends almost zero time and energy to drive this behavior. And here are three important conclusions that we can make about our habits. First of all, we have power to choose how to act, regardless of what triggers the action. Second, we have power to learn and unlearn any behavior. And third, we have power to make the desired behaviors automatic, so they become our second nature, our default response to a specific trigger, and require minimum amount of brain power, and most importantly, willpower. Why the willpower point is important? Because we don't have much of it. Try as we might, this resource is limited. And unfortunately, it is extremely easy to spend. You may not have thought about it this way, but on any given day, we have a myriad occasions when we spend our willpower. And most of them are super mundane, beginning with getting out of bed when your alarm goes off, doing a morning workout if you do any, taking the dog out when it's rainy or cold, holding a snarky comment about your partner's bed hair, stifling a curse when somebody cuts us in traffic. All of these choices we make throughout the day use a little bit, or not so little, of our willpower. So when we sit down for dinner in the end of the day, there is no surprise that we may not have anything left to resist going for seconds, or to actively listening to our partner ranting about the day, or having patience for kids making a mess. So how do we limit spending this precious willpower on random stuff and save it for things that are really meaningful? And that's where the automation of the behavior comes into play. We spend zero energy thinking about how to breathe, how to walk, or how to grab a phone to start doom scrolling. The trick to preserving willpower is to automate as many behaviors as reasonably possible and only spend it in situations that call for some new solutions. And this means building habits and routines. So let's get back to the ABCs. A is an anchor, some behavior that is already established, something you can glue your new habit to. Because the first challenge of building a habit is actually remembering that you wanted to do it. So for example, you have an established routine of brushing teeth before bed. It can be an anchor for flossing. B, that behavior. Trick with behavior is to make it really tiny, super easy. The easier, the better. Something that takes nearly zero energy to accomplish. In the book, Professor Fogg offers an example of flossing just one tooth. It may sound ridiculous, but in reality, the act of pulling the floss out and doing something with this already creates a new pattern in your brain. So committing to floss one tooth or even just pulling the floss out can be a beginning of your new habit. Finally, C is celebration. Super important step, so please do not skip it, because celebration is the way to deliver dopamine to our pleasure centers. And this is the way how our brain is programmed to repeat the behavior. And that's exactly what we are aiming for, to train the brain to do the thing without us nagging. Celebrations can take different forms. Just make sure they are sensible. For example, treating yourself with a cake for eating a salad is a bit suboptimal. The size of the celebration also depends on the size of the behavior you're celebrating, right? There are some times when significant streaks are in order. But for small behaviors, something like flossing a tooth, your celebration can be just acknowledging your win and smiling to yourself in the mirror. Thankfully, many of the habits that we are trying to build have some kind of positive reinforcement system already built in. For example, I typically feel a lot better after completing a workout than I do before. But it's still very important to pause for a second, allow yourself to feel the difference and acknowledge it. So next time you don't really feel like working out, it will be easier to remember your why, the motivation, and that you will feel better afterwards. When I work with my clients or with my own self on building or breaking habits, I follow several principles that I have developed over time. When breaking a habit, it's crucial to formulate it as a desired behavior, not something that you want to stop doing, but what you will do instead. For example, if you want to stop bringing food on a couch while watching TV, you have to come up with alternative behavior first. What are you going to do instead? Because any habit, good or bad on the surface, has some hidden benefits. Dopamine. Remember, our brain is not going to repeat anything that is not beneficial for it, that doesn't feel good. So the first task in breaking any habit is to actually sit down and really think how this behavior is benefiting me. All these reasons are completely valid. These are needs that you just meet through munching plus TV. So if you want to not engage in this particular behavior anymore when the need arises, first of all, you need to figure out what are you going to do to still make your needs met. Because otherwise, your brain will hit you with such cravings when you see TV and snacks that no amount of willpower will be able to stop you, especially in the long run. My second principle is somewhat similar to the first, and it sounds as add before taking out. For example, for somebody who wants to improve their diet by eating less processed foods, it is crucial to figure out what to eat instead first, because just removing your regular go-to sides will leave you with an empty plate. What you're going to eat. So first of all, I would recommend to begin with adding the foods that you want to eat. Let's say it's vegetables. So try with not taking anything away first. Try to start adding like a cucumber for dinner or something else. Experiment, play with it. Find out what do you like? How do you like it cooked? What kind of vegetables do you like? And then the transition from your usual processed foods to something else will be a lot easier. Then one night you will just decide, I actually can eat this broccoli instead of fries. So making a transition will be a lot easier because you will have a landing pad ready. And my third principle is start small. Break any routine into tiny steps. Want to start running in the mornings? Begin with laying out your clothes the night before. Hoping to eat more vegetables? Start with adding a cucumber to one meal. Want to wake up 3 hours earlier? Set your alarm back 15 minutes at a time, not more, until you adjust it. I run a workout group in my basement for my neighborhood friends. And the main thing I ask is to just show up. You don't need to exercise if you don't feel like it. There is a couch you can just veg on, or stretch, or just hang out without and chat while we work out. Do a few exercises if you feel like it. But the fact of showing up reinforces not only a habit of coming to the gym on a particular time, but also it reinforces that identity of you being a person who works out. And the more you prove yourself right, thinking of yourself as a gym goer, the more you believe in it, the more it becomes your second nature. So, next time when you face a decision making moment, whether to go or not to go workout, the hesitation will have a lot less power over you. Sure, there are going to be setbacks, lots of them. Sometimes you'll have to start from scratch. But if you work not on just learning and repeating behavior, but also on weaving it into your identity, you'll be able to come back and reset a lot easier and faster. If you're struggling with a particular behavior that you would like to change, build, or break, let's brainstorm. Drop your story below in the comments and let's try to figure it out. I will also attach a link to schedule a free discovery call with me, and let's talk it through. Next week, I will talk about what happens when life interrupts your habits and how to adapt without losing your momentum. See you then. Bye.